Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sonia Taylor, and I have the pleasure of walking you through multimedia principles. When I was tasked with this, it was something that was new, but yet not new to me. And what I mean by that is I didn't have any clue that someone that I didn't know came up with the 12 principles of multimedia learning. And so, what I found out is that there is a professor and his name is Richard Mayer. He's a distinguished professor of psychology at the University of California. Mayer published his cognitive theory of multimedia learning in 2001. And the principles he developed after several years of research are just as relevant today. From images and video to AR and VR, multimedia is now integral to a digital education. And learners find it more engaging and enjoyable to learn. According to one survey, 70% of students prefer digital learning to traditional classrooms. So, the reason that I said I'm familiar with multimedia principles, or at least I thought I was, and yet I'm not, is because when I think of multimedia, I think of what I'm doing now, speaking over on a camera or doing a Zoom or Teams call where I'm interacting with people and they're able to pause and ask me questions, or just a virtual learning. I had no idea that there were really different levels to it, and multimedia principle being one. And what I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to take it from an aspect of you being a brand new facilitator. And as a brand new facilitator, one of the things, or as a brand new facilitator, but as a even an experienced one as myself, you want to make sure that you are able to engage your audience and find ways that the information that you're providing to them that they take away. We know that when it comes to adult learning, we can't inundate adults with a lot of information all at the same time. I say a lot of times in my class when I do like a 45-minute enablement refresher, the thing that I think of is we want to make sure that they walk away with one or two concepts. And then I want them to walk away with a resource on where to find the information because I don't expect them to memorize it. So for this session, I'm going to take 12 principles and make it four. Not that there's only four, but I'm going to go over the four that I think are really important for you to learn. So, with that in mind, I'm going to start with the first one. I decided, of course, the multimedia principle is very important. This is because people learn best from a combination of words and pictures. Presenting information in multi formats helps learners process and integrate information more effectively. So, why is it important? Well, it's really important because a lot of times whether we want to touch it and we want to see it, and this improves learner comprehension and it prevents overload working memory. So, how do you apply multimedia principle? So, in this illustration, what I'm showing is how to change a tire on a car. Now, I have no idea how to do it. I don't want to learn how to do it. However, this does show you it has a picture, it has words, it even has at the bottom right a place where you can scan a QR code so that you can watch a video about how to change a tire. And I think this is a perfect slide to show the visual and verbal communication because with the video, you can pause it, you can rewind it, and then you can keep going. With this kind of like a job aid, it tells you what to do and then it shows someone trying to do it. So that is how we would apply multimedia principle. And that's my first one. My second one is segmenting principle. Segmenting principle means better learning outcomes are achieved when information is segmented and students have control over the pace. Present information in a step by step approach, allowing learners to process each segment independently and build understanding gradually. And that is really important. So, why is the segmenting principle important? Well, when you have a segmented principle, it allows you to take a really big concept and to put it into chunks. And I think that is hugely important when people are learning something new. And segmenting often includes like checkpoints as you're going along the way, quizzes, or interactive elements between sections. So, applying segmented principle number two would be, for instance, adding a short knowledge check between segments to reinforce learning. So, I just did this simple knowledge check. Like, for instance, the segmented principle introduces material all at once. And true or false? That's false because I just read that it does not. The multimedia principle includes visual and verbal learning techniques, true or false. And that is true. It does include multiple techniques, visual and verbal. And this would be as we're learning about the four principles out of the 12 I want to talk about. I am making sure that you are learning and understanding along the way. We have pre-training principle. People learn better when they already know the basics. Often, this means understanding definitions, terms, or critical concepts before diving into the details. Very important because adult learners, we bring our experience with us when we come to, for instance, a new organization or even like in a new class. And we want to be able to feel like we have some sort of understanding of what we're about to learn. So, why is pre training principle important? It's important because it introduces key concepts, which helps learners process new information more easily. Learners are more likely to understand and retain information when they understand the basic concepts and vocabulary. This will boost their confidence, which is very important. If I feel confident about what I know, then I'm going to feel confident that I'm learning something and that I can learn it. It will not overwhelm me. So, applying pre training principle, this I took a screenshot. So what this shows is on my left, introductory guide dynamic maintenance. So what this is showing you, this is more of a step by step. Instead of having learners begin the course right away, you want to create an introductory guide that teaches the basic definitions, terms, and concepts. Again, by learning that and taking this before you actually do the class, it will make the learner feel more confident. I also thought of like a pre assessment to test how much you know about a topic, and then it will go more in detail about the things you don't know. So, personalization principle is the fourth principle. This is learning with multimedia works best when it's personalized and focused on the user. This means speaking in the first person. You want to avoid formal language and instead use conversational tone to engage learners. So, why is the personalization principle important? The personalization principle is important because it improves engagement and learning outcomes by creating a great sense of dialogue. This in turn makes the learners feel like they are in a conversation rather than passively receiving information. As adults and just really in general, no one wants to have data dump. Don't data dump everything onto me. I want to feel involved in my learning and in the conversation. And the more you feel involved, the more the language is easier to understand and informal, the more comfortable you can become in learning it. So, how do we apply it? This is like a picture of what is best in terms of the concept. So on my left, it says, how is phase one achieved? And then it says just one sentence. Phase one is achieved by establishing a 30% decrease in breakdowns. And on the right, it gives more of a longer definition. We want to do the one that's on the left because we want to make sure we keep our message simple and casual. It allows learners to feel more comfortable. You want to avoid using overly professional sounding text or long, complex words. I also want to add that that is important, like in the job place where I work. When you are in, I would say, neutral ground, there can be people there that have their GED all the way to that have their PhD. And the language needs to be able to speak to everyone and not go over anyone's head. No one wants to feel like they don't understand because at work, if I feel like I don't understand the concept, then I must not know how to do my job. If I don't feel like I'm learning how to do my job, then the fear of getting fired is there. So that is why making sure the information is more informal is very helpful. So these are the 4 out of the 12 principles that I think are really going to be helpful for you when you start your first class. Please feel free, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I do have some references. I used a lot of going online and to get this information. I went to digitallearninginstitute.com and it had a lot of good information that I used to help me put this together. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.